Hi, I'm Mrs. King, and I'm going to teach you today how to do a couple of easy, quick sewing repairs. I'm going to show you how to sew on a button, and I'm also show you how to fix a hem. In order to do those repairs, you need to gather up a small sewing kit. So the first thing you need is a pair of scissors, a small pair of sharp scissors. Make sure that you keep these with your sewing kit and you don't use them for other things like household repairs or glue and glitter, things like that. Then you need a little sewing kit. This is one that I got at the Dollar Tree for $1. It's in a nice little plastic box. It has several different colors of thread, so that'll help when you're trying to match sewing on a button or even a hem. It's got a little box with some safety pins, and this box also has a couple of men's shirt buttons in it. It's got a really nice box of needles. There's a lot of needles in here. That will come in very handy. And the other piece of equipment that's in this little kit that's really beneficial is a needle threader. And that's this metal piece right here. This silver piece has a little loop right here on the end, and we put the end of the thread through that. And once we've put the thread through that metal loop, we put that metal loop through the eye of our needle and pull the thread through our needle. I'm going to show you how that works. So I've cut off a nice length of thread off of the red spool of thread. It's as long as my arm. So a lot of times we say that that's a yard. That's the way in like King Henry VIII's time he used to measure. A yard was the length of his arm to his nose. So I've cut off a nice long piece of thread, and now I'm doubling it. So I'm folding it in half. There's the kind of the folded end right down here. And here's the two ends of the thread, the two open ends. I'm going to clip them nice and smooth with my scissors. And then I'm going to thread them through the metal on that needle threader. Okay, so they are through that metal loop on the needle threader. So now I'm going to pinch that piece of metal closed. I'm going to try to get it up here so you can see how I'm pinching that closed right there. And I'm going to find my needle, which I have pinned in my scrap of fabric over here. Now the needle has a tiny eye on it. A smaller eye is better, but it's very hard to thread. So I'm going to take that needle threader pinched, that little piece of metal pinched, and push it through my eye of my needle. Now I'm going to take the thread back out of the needle threader. I was just kind of holding it in there while I was gathering my things. I'm going to take that back out. And now that I've got that metal loop through my eye of my needle, I'm going to stick those two ends of the thread right through the metal loop. And I'm just going to pull them up a little ways. I'm not pulling that many. I pulled about 4 or 5 inches up. Now, carefully, I'm going to wiggle this loop back through the eye of the needle. And I say carefully because if you just jerk at it, this wire will detach itself from this little silver metal piece. I'm kind of grasping that wire. So I'm pulling with the wire, not the metal piece. And I'm wiggling it until I can get it to pop back through the eye of my needle and pull my thread together with it at the same time. And now I'm going to take it off of the thread. So here I've got my needle threaded with what looks to be 4 strands of thread because it was doubled, and now I've put that through my needle, and I'm basically doubling it again. I'm going to balance my ends out to match down here at the bottom, and I'm going to grab those ends and I'm going to tie a knot. So you tie a knot. I'm twisting all 4 threads together just to hold them together. I'm going to wrap it around 2 fingers. I'm going to tuck it inside the loop that I made with my 2 fingers, and there's the tail, and I'm going to hold that while I gently pull the knot down to the end of the thread. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off that thread, just like that, so that it's nice and neat. And my needle is now threaded with a loop of thread that won't come off of my needle because I've doubled it and knotted it. And there's actually 4 strands of thread on this needle. And that's a really good thickness of thread, strength of thread for when you're wanting to sew on a button. We're going to stop there, and in the next video I'll show you actually how to get that button sewn on.